Good day. Today's lecture is devoted to the usage of computer technologies in the university. This topic is of particular importance because contemporary higher education functions under new conditions. The volume of information is steadily increasing, study time remains limited, and the need for individualization has become more pronounced. Therefore, computer technology should be considered not as an optional supplement to teaching, but as a significant pedagogical resource that influences efficiency, accessibility, and the overall quality of the educational process. At the outset, the lecture defines its central aim quite clearly. It seeks to develop the ideas of programmed learning and, at the same time, to reveal new technological possibilities connected with modern computers and telecommunications. In other words, the lecture is concerned not merely with devices, but with the pedagogical transformation made possible through them. Accordingly, the discussion is organized around two main directions. First, the usage of computer technologies in education. Second, the unique capabilities of modern computers and telecommunication systems. This structure is methodologically appropriate, since it moves from general pedagogical purpose to specific technological means. This slide explains why computer technologies have become especially necessary under modern conditions. First, the amount of educational content is growing continuously. Consequently, technology helps to manage, filter, and deliver information more effectively. Second, limited study time requires flexible forms of learning, and computer tools enable students to revisit material independently beyond the classroom. Moreover, digital systems support individualization by adapting to the learner's pace, level, and style of work. Finally, the slide rightly emphasizes that technology contributes not only to academic growth, but also to the formation of a personality prepared for contemporary society. Thus, the pedagogical value of technology lies in both intellectual and social development. Computer teaching technologies are defined here as processes of preparing and transmitting information to the student by means of a computer. However, this definition should be understood in a broader pedagogical sense. The issue is not simply the use of equipment, but the organization of learning through digital mediation. The slide also identifies several important accents of application: the formation of information skills, the development of communication, preparation for life in the information society, the adaptation of teaching material to student capacity, and the development of research competence, together with sound decision-making. Therefore, computer technologies must be viewed as a means of shaping both knowledge and intellectual readiness for modern professional life. A particularly significant point is made on this slide. Computer teaching aids are interactive because they respond to the actions of both student and teacher and, in a certain sense, enter into dialogue with them. This interactive quality distinguishes computer-based learning from merely mechanical information delivery. Furthermore, the computer performs several roles for the learner. It may function as a teacher, a working tool, an object of study, a collaborative partner, and even a play environment. Consequently, its pedagogical role is multifaceted. The computer does not serve one single purpose. Rather, it supports explanation, action, exploration, cooperation, and motivation within one educational system. The slide demonstrates that computer technologies may be integrated at every major stage of learning. During the explanation of new material, the computer visualizes concepts, presents dynamic models, and uses audio or video support. During consolidation, it offers interactive practice with immediate feedback. During repetition, it allows independent review according to each student's schedule. Finally, during control and assessment, it supports objective testing and rapid evaluation. Thus, computer technologies do not belong to one isolated phase of instruction. On the contrary, they may accompany the learner from first acquaintance with the material to final assessment. This continuity greatly enhances their pedagogical significance. Even within a technologically enriched environment, the teacher remains central. The slide identifies four principal functions: overall process organization, intra-class coordination, individual student support, and preparation of educational materials. These functions show that technology does not reduce the teacher's importance. Rather, it redistributes professional responsibility in more complex ways. Indeed, the teacher must manage the learning process as a whole, coordinate classroom resources, maintain meaningful personal contact with each student, and prepare the materials through which technology becomes educationally effective. Therefore, technological progress elevates the teacher's role from mere transmitter of information to organizer, guide, and pedagogical strategist. The next point concerns computer literacy as a necessary component of educational informatization. Both teachers and students must possess basic knowledge of informatics, of computer structure and function, of operating systems, and of at least one text editor, together with initial experience in the use of applied programs. This requirement is pedagogically fundamental. Technology cannot improve education if its users lack the competence to employ it meaningfully. Consequently, computer literacy should be treated not as an optional technical skill, but as part of the essential educational foundation of modern teaching and learning. The first practical task concerns effective monitoring of the educational process. The slide explains that such monitoring relies on software and hardware for determining the level of student achievement, while testing remains one of its principal components. Several advantages are noted here. Computer-based testing prepares students for external forms of final assessment, assists teachers in the creation and processing of tests, provides access to ready-made testing materials, and also makes custom test development possible. Therefore, computer technology supports monitoring not only by increasing speed, but also by strengthening precision, consistency, and adaptability. The second task concerns the creation and use of high-quality demonstration material. Computer dynamic models, multimedia presentations, and virtual environments greatly deepen student understanding because they make abstract or inaccessible phenomena visible and explorable. The slide quite properly distinguishes several possibilities: using existing programs, creating custom models, working with virtual environments, and employing dynamic visualization. In disciplines such as science, mathematics, and language learning, these tools are especially valuable because they translate difficult concepts into forms that are clearer, more concrete, and more memorable. A third task extends beyond ordinary classroom work and turns to research activity. As the slide indicates, this process includes topic selection, information collection, computer processing, and final presentation. Here, technology supports the full research cycle rather than a single isolated operation. This is particularly important in university teaching. Research projects require students not only to gather information, but also to organize, analyze, interpret, and present it. Consequently, computer technologies contribute directly to the development of research competence, academic independence, and digital professionalism. A separate and increasingly important question is the educational use of the Internet. The slide identifies several functions: access to scientific and methodological information, educational news, telecommunication projects, inter-school communication, and digital libraries. In pedagogical terms, the Internet broadens the educational environment beyond the physical classroom. It connects students and teachers with current knowledge, collaborative opportunities, and academic resources that may not be locally available. Thus, it becomes not merely a source of information, but an expanded educational space. This slide summarizes the key benefits of computer technologies. These include individualization, immediate feedback, motivation and engagement, teacher efficiency, broader access to information, and the development of 21st century skills. Each of these deserves attention. Individualization allows students to progress according to their own level. Immediate feedback corrects mistakes while the material is still fresh. Motivation is strengthened through interactive and visual forms. Teacher efficiency improves because routine tasks can be automated. Information access expands beyond the limits of one classroom. Finally, regular computer use develops digital literacy, communication, and research competence. Therefore, the educational value of technology lies in its simultaneous support of both process and outcome. The conclusion brings the discussion together in a well-balanced way. Computer technologies continue the logic of programmed learning. However, they also open entirely new technological possibilities connected with modern computers. Under present conditions, they have become indispensable because they respond to growing information demands and to the need for individualization. At the same time, the slide correctly emphasizes several essential principles. The computer is a multi-role tool. Its effective use requires digital literacy, and technology transforms rather than replaces the teacher. In other words, the success of computer technologies in education depends not on their mere presence, but on their pedagogically meaningful integration into the teaching process. Thank you for your attention. I hope this lecture has clarified the pedagogical significance of computer technologies in university teaching and has shown how they can improve individualization, efficiency, and educational quality when used thoughtfully and systematically.